Justin Lubino with Senior Advisors. And on today's episode of Coffee with Justin, we have Jack Cooney, who's a principal with Bleakley Financial Group. Jack is a certified public accountant and a chartered life underwriter with 31 years of experience. He has a Bachelor of Science in Accounting from Stonehill College. And in 2019, Jack was named to Financial Times Top 400 Financial Advisors and to Forbes Best in State Wealth Advisors in Northern New Jersey. We're excited to have Jack here with us today. Thank you, Jack, for joining us.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. Looking forward to it.
All right. So we start out these episodes, since it is Coffee with Justin. We start out with our coffee questions. There you go.
Yeah.
So the first one is, what is your kind of preferred or go-to coffee, either brand or type of coffee that you like to drink on a daily?
We historically have had Dunkin' Donuts coffee. My wife, Kathleen, loves Dunkin' Donuts coffee, so that's what we have in the house, and I'm totally fine with it. And we have it here in the office as well.
Okay. Is it just the traditional? Any French vanilla or your flavor? Or is it just kind of the
plain Dunkin' Donuts black coffee?
Got it. How many cups a day generally for you?
2. I have one on the way in the morning, and then I nurse a second one for the rest of the morning. And after that, it's enough.
Okay.
I can have the same cup of coffee on my desk for hours, and I still drink it. So
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. All right. And if you could sit down and have a cup of coffee with anyone, who would you choose to have a cup of coffee with?
Justin, I gave that a lot of thought. And, initially I thought of somebody like Jack Nicklaus, would be somebody to ask, what has he learned from Arnold Palmer and what has he learned from Tiger Woods? I mean, the guy's 80 something years old. He's had a wonderful career. But honestly, when I gave it a lot more thought, I thought I'd love to have had a cup of coffee with my dad. He died 30 years ago, and he missed the growth of his children becoming real adults. They're all adults, and now they're becoming they're real adults, and now they're parents themselves, and now he's got grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And, he missed a lot. And I would love to just sit down and talk to him and say, hey, this is what's been going on, and sorry you missed this, and got any insights for me that you didn't get to pass on. But I still would like to talk to Nicholas.
Well, that's a great answer. I'll give you, you could get 2. All right, we'll give you 2.
Okay.
So, we've had Tiger Woods was an answer someone gave once, but we haven't had Jack yet. So
yeah,
that's great. And that's great about, that'd be nice to maybe one day with your father, right?
Yeah, right. You never know.
Okay, so just to kind of shift a little bit, and since you mentioned your father, maybe a little bit about family and about your own, your own family and kids and any grandkids or anything.
Yeah, I've got combined families. Kathy and I have a combined family of 6 children. I have 4 of my own. She's got 2 girls. They range from 26 to almost 45. And they're all productive, working all through COVID, through this whole thing. Nobody's moved home, which is great. Uniquely, I only have 1 of those children in New Jersey, my oldest, Kristen. I have 3 in Tennessee. I've got 1 in Bozeman, Montana, and 1 in Maryland. Just life took them different places. So we do miss our grandchildren. We have 4. And we miss them dearly. We haven't seen them now because of COVID. The kids in Tennessee, we haven't seen in a year ago, last October, and the kids in Montana a year ago, December. So we're planning to be in Tennessee in the last weekend of April, and we're going to go out to Bozeman and possibly the last weekend in May.
Nice.
It's been a long time of Zoom visits and FaceTime and all that crazy stuff,
That first hug will feel great, I'm sure.
No kidding.
These grandkids. What are the ages of the grandkids?
Well, the youngest is 4, and then he's got a sister who just turned 8. The Fiona in Tennessee, she's 9, and James, the kid here in New Jersey, is 15.
Okay. Yeah. Great ages. Good ages.
Yep. All blossoming and blooming, and I'm missing so much of it. So it's too bad, but we'll get there.
It's going to be a good trip later this year for sure.
You bet.
So, I made a comment before we started about that picture in the background there.
Yeah.
And we'll joke for our audience. That's Jack's home back there, the castle. But no, tell them what is that actually back there?
Yeah, that's what is known as Old Main at Del Barton High School, where I went to high school many years ago, and still have a very, very close relationship with all these years. Great relationships. It becomes kind of the fabric of your life when you go through an institution like that. And we've had enjoyed a really good relationship. So it just seemed appropriate to have something cool in the background there. And it's a pretty neat one.
It's beautiful. It's
I can
beautiful.
flash right over to a castle in Ireland if you want. We can make that change. I can
No, leave New Jersey. We like to keep the New Jersey pride there. And that school has a phenomenal reputation. As
Yeah, no kidding.
great,
Yeah.
great pro. And you're still pretty active. I saw in your bio
Yeah.
with the school.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm involved with the Audit and Finance Committee for 25 years.
Okay.
So it's been a long commitment, but it's been very worthwhile for everybody.
Great. And you're also, it looks like, pretty active with a couple other groups, the Baltusrol and Fiddlers, I guess, from a golf.
Yeah, for golf clubs, and I'm on the board for the Center for Great Expectations, and I'm involved with the Knights and the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick. Those are two near and dear organizations for me as well.
Great. Can you talk a little bit about the Center for Great Expectations and what they do?
Yeah, their mission is primarily working with young girls who have had trauma in their lives through family situations or drugs or a number of different things, and they have children, and they may be threatened of losing their children based on their circumstances. So their mission is to help keep them united with their kids, get them productive, get them back to school, getting them into jobs, and providing them all the support they need to do that. And many times, a child who comes from a family like that doesn't even know what it is to parent because they were never parented themselves, right? And that's the trauma. Trauma isn't necessarily somebody gets hit. Trauma can take all kinds of forms, and the lack of parenting on a person leaves them kind of empty to know what it is to be a parent. And now they're left at 16 or 17 years old, and they've got this little baby, and what do I do? So many times they turn to the wrong answers for that. And the center is helping them, direct them to keep them, moving forward and being positive in their lives and getting education and getting jobs, and also teaching them how to raise their kids.
It sounds like a great organization. How long has it been around, roughly? Is it?
Oh, it's over 20 years. I've only been on the board. I think I'm on my 6th year now, but it's evolving. It's been evolving for 20 years, and it's got a wonderful mission. It's got a very good board, and they continue to innovate the services that they're providing. They have a program where they actually go into the high schools, they're hired to go into the high schools and work with the faculty and administration on recognizing trauma in the kids. So that kid who might be, speaking out or acting out, may be having trouble at home, may be having, depression thoughts, and so they might be disruptive. Well, rather than putting them in the penalty box, the idea is recognizing that and maybe helping draw out from them what their needs are. And they've had great success in a number of the high schools in Somerset County.
Wow, that's great. Very proactive approach. It sounds
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Very nice. Well, you're a busy man. I could see.
That's right. It's okay.
Do you get to golf at all, or is that?
Yeah, I will this year. I've had some injuries on my shoulder for the last 2 years. I missed 2 seasons pretty much, but I am back. I am ready. I am fired up. I just have to remember how to play golf again. But,
riding a bike, right?
I really enjoy it. I love being out there, and the camaraderie that comes with playing golf is just it's really a lot of fun.
Great, good stuff. So just maybe for the audience, just tell a little bit about how you ended up into the space you're in as a financial advisor. It sounds like you've been there for over 30 years.
Yeah, I started out in public accounting. Back out of college, I worked for then a Big 8 firm that they're now Big 4 firm, but I was in public accounting for about 4 years or so, and then I joined my father's family business at that time as his financial officer, and evolved into a lot of different things, getting involved with the management of the business and so forth. And I learned a lot about running a business, which was a great background for me, because we ultimately sold the business for a number of different reasons. And I then looked for a changing of career and decided to go into this career with 3 kids, 1 on the way, and a mortgage and a half. So challenging times, to say the least. But I've never turned back, never thought about doing anything but what we're doing here. We've got a great mission, and it's been the mission of this firm since 1984.
Great.
Yeah.
And what would you say, is kind of the differentiator working with, Bleakley Financial?
Yeah. Even as far back as when the firm was founded, it was founded on the principles of financial planning, not necessarily insurance or money management. It was on planning, and the money management and insurance came with it. And this is long before there was all the software that you could use today for planning purposes and managing portfolios. And a lot of it was done on HPs and typing stuff up, and but the founding principles were that people need guidance and leadership. There's plenty of information out there, but how it applies specifically to you is unique, right? So that was what really attracted me to this. And my accounting background, tax background really helped. And having run a business really helped to understand what business owners go through on a daily basis, the challenges that they have, and also, how individuals are impacted because their life changes about, at a moment's notice, right? All of a sudden, a guy's transferred or something happens within the family. I mean, the speed bumps keep coming at people, and they just need guidance to walk through it. And that's been one of the most rewarding things for me, is to be able to help people through those times.
That's great. That's great. And you mentioned, when you started in '84, like you had 2 kids. You said 2 kids, 1 on the way, and a mortgage and a half. I mean, at what point? I guess how long did it take to kind of turn the corner? And when did you start feeling, a little safer, I guess, financially yourself?
Oh, it was a long time, because you're building a business from scratch. Now, the guys who ran the firm at the time had a very good understanding of what it was going to take somebody on who had these circumstances. So, we worked out a guaranteed, stipend to keep me, from going back on my heels. But I mean, I'd say within a year, we had a regular, flow, but regular flow. And then in that stage of your career is something's coming once in a while. Right? But, really took a number of years. But frankly, once the momentum gets started and you have a lot of good clients to refer you, it really became much more steady. And then we gradually continued to, increase the money management part of our practice, and not be transactional. It was management. So transactional means commission, right? That means it comes and it goes. This is more a management style, came on very early in our firm. And as a consequence, things were kind of leveling out in terms of your being able to count on a certain amount of income each month and so forth. So, and then from there, we definitely, from the very beginning, continued to invest in infrastructure, and technology as it came, but infrastructure, hiring smart people to be behind us, right, and leveraging that. So we hire a really smart guy to be our financial planning guy, or another guy to help with advanced planning, another guy to help with investment selection. And so rather than me individually trying to find people, my partners and I leverage really smart people, and we've continued to do that to this day. We plow an awful lot of money back into resources for not only the partners here, but all of the financial representatives in our firm, that we try and keep them focused on working with their clients and not worrying about running the practice, okay, which is really important. That's what we do best.
Great. No, and I see your updates you send out. You send out some phenomenal updates and just really valuable information. Like you said, the team there, and you've got a strong set of resources. We actually interviewed Reed Finney, another partner at Bleakley, for a different episode, and he went through some of the different resources that you have available. He mentioned like the life coach and the investment. Is it Peter, right? Is your
Peter Bookbar, our CIO. We just brought on David Mandelbaum, who's running a healthcare strategy for us.
Yeah.
The life coach, she's been a great resource. And we also have a source for reviewing people's legal documents, their estate planning documents, to see, maybe it's been 10 years since you did it. For no charge, we can at least let you know what you have and give you some guidance of where you should go. We don't do the documents here, but and we also do property and casualty insurance audits for people who feel the need for that. If they're not working with a broker that they feel is got the whole picture, same thing. There's no charge for that work, but at least gives them an outside opinion as to what's going on.
Great. How would you say your business, I guess, operationally and just from a business perspective, has impacted in the last during the pandemic? If you
good question. I would say we adapted remarkably well. I've got a team, including myself, of 8 people that service my practice here, and we were March 13th. We were shut down, and the following Monday we were opened up at home. We went out and bought laptops for anybody who didn't have them. We got them. If they needed printers, we got them set up so that they could function from home. We had the phone automation so that as calls would come in, they'd automatically get forwarded to our individual cell phones. We had team calls every single day to keep people focused on what they're doing. And even somebody like myself, who's not, I would say technically challenged, I worked from home. Like it was lonelier, but we functioned really well. And we had our calls with our clients. And remember, that's when the downturn of the market came, bottomed on March 23rd. We had multiple reach outs to our clients. And we were able to do it seamlessly. So it really taught us something, that this can be done. And we certainly prefer being here. There's no question. We prefer to be together because there's a synergy that comes with being together. And I don't think anybody would deny that. But when it comes to today, when family situations are challenged because people have children at home that are having to be tutored or go to the Zoom classes, we've got people who have to rotate with their spouses to be in and out, and it's okay. We're not worrying about whether they're productive or not, because they can be productive. And now it kind of helps out going forward that we're allowing people to do this because it helps them. And if they're in good spirits with their family, then they're generally going to be more positive in their work, right? So, as I said, we prefer to have people here, but we've learned that we can do it. And by the way, we have no more snow days, right?
That's true. That's no longer an excuse, I guess, right?
Right. No more snow days.
That's great. Well, no, it's great how quickly you were able to adapt to the situation we're in, and hopefully by the fall, schools will be back and you get more face-to-face time in the office there. I agree. There's something you just can't replace the face-to-face and interactions. So what do you see as kind of the biggest challenges in the next kind of 3 to 5 years?
It's a good question. I think the evolution of products continues to evolve, and cryptocurrencies, right? That's just one area, right? And then you've got these digital art pieces out there. It's constantly evolving, and being able to understand it, and does it really fit? Does it not fit? Is it something you need to be aware of? But also continuing to innovate with being in touch with people. Now we have more Zoom calls than ever because people are fine with doing it, and we're finding that not driving 25,000 miles a year is actually a production gainer, right? We have more time to do things. But I think being able to continue to scale the service model that we have a very, very high touch service model. As I mentioned, during the pandemic sell-off, we were in constant contact with our clients. So nobody would say, gosh, I wonder what they're thinking over there. They knew. And we had written, emailed communications on a weekly basis. But I think the ability to do that with people today, because their lives are far more complicated than they've ever been before, with the pandemic situation, the education of their children, their jobs evolving, and how does this all impact them? And keeping people focused on their goals is really, really important, because they can be so distracted by just daily life, So I think it's, important that you be able to continue to invest in good people and infrastructure, so that you can continue to leverage the time that you do have to reach more people. Okay.
All right. That's a good answer. I gotta ask, since you went, the interesting products with crypto and
Yeah.
there's digital art. I mean, I am, and that's not my field at all, but I see the headlines on the digital artwork going for 60 something million, I believe. I guess I'm curious, and I know it's very early on as far as, that, because are there any thoughts on that? Are any of your investors asking about it, or starting to invest in that type of thing? Or
I haven't had very many people invest in it. I've had inquiries, but I think people see the price of Bitcoin going from 62,000 to 55,000 to 62,000. I mean, that kind of swing in pricing is unnerving to people, and I don't know that it has a place other than as a trade. I'm going to put that in there. I'm just going to forget about it. It's not a portfolio asset. It's just not yet. And whether it'll become a currency, as Peter says, gold has been around for 5,000 years. I don't know that Bitcoin's going to replace currencies until all of the central banks find a way to embrace it, and you can have some kind of regulatory oversight, because they want to know that you can track these transactions, for a whole host of reasons. So it's coming. I can't tell you what the timeline is, but I also, my partner, Pat, Pat's 34 years old. I have Pat inundated with getting information on this stuff. And it's far easier for him to translate it into something that's meaningful, and that we can actually have a discussion about it, along with a bunch of other things that we have not doing.
Sure. Okay. No, it's interesting. So, one of the top issues we hear from financial advisors, I mean, I think when surveys are done of their clients, the number one biggest issue, I think, is are they going to run out of money in retirement? Are they going to have enough to survive? And the number two biggest issue we hear a lot is about Medicare, right? And how does this whole thing work? And they're getting bombarded with marketing about Medicare and the confusion, and their whole lives they didn't have to worry about making that decision, right? Their employer picked a few plans and they just had 2 or 3 to choose from, and that was it. Maybe talk just a little bit for you, kind of about how you deal with those situations around Medicare, and kind of working with us, and how that relationship has evolved.
Yeah, that's a good segue. Look, as we get people preparing for retirement, the question invariably comes up about health insurance and how to deal with that. And frankly, we know enough to be dangerous, because I'm on it myself, and I know what I picked, and fine, that's what I know. But people have lots and lots of questions about Medicare Advantage. They have questions about, well, what if I'm still working and now I'm on Medicare, and then what's the transition, and how much is it going to cost? Justin, we, as you know, have sent, probably, I don't know, multiple clients over to your organization, because that's not what we do. We want them to get it from people, with people. That's what they do. That's what they do every day. And you can ask the pertinent questions about what their employment situation is or isn't, what's their medical situation, prescription use, and so forth, difference in age between the two spouses. I mean, these are all meaningful questions that you know how to deal with, that we say, as I said, we know enough to know that you need to have a Medicare supplemental plan most of the time. And you need to talk to somebody that this is what they do, because they're bombarded with Joe Namath, every other second on TV, that you better sign up and you better get with all this free stuff. Well, free stuff comes with a lot of strings attached, right? So, but I don't know what those strings are, and you do. And
Right.
You would be able to decide what's the best outcome for our clients. And we have had remarkable success with our clients making decisions with your organization.
Great. Well, I appreciate that for the audience. And
Yeah.
For folks out there, if you have Medicare questions, or if you're a financial advisor and you're looking for a good resource, our contact information will be below the video, and you can certainly reach out to us. We're happy to help either you personally or your clients, or your parents, or whatever your situation is with their Medicare planning situation. So, and I want to thank Jack again today for taking some time to join us on Coffee with Justin.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate you taking the time. And your Jack's contact info will also be below the video.
Great.
If you're looking for help with your financial planning, financial advice, Bleakley Financial is a great organization. We deal with their clients from a Medicare perspective, and every one of them is truly just extremely grateful for the relationship they have with their advisor, and really the whole team. It's not just the advisor, as Jack pointed out, as Reed Finney pointed out in a prior video. It's a whole team there, and they provide a slew of resources and value to each individual. So thank you.
Thanks, Justin. I appreciate the opportunity to do this. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Well, cheers, and have a
Great.
great rest of the day. There we go.
Have a great week. Okay.
All right, take care.
Take care. Bye now.